Welcome back to Industry Weekly. Normally, Hollywood changes slowly, but the first week of December, that was an earthquake. First, Netflix has entered its Imperial Phase, dropping $82.7 billion to swallow Warner Bros. Discovery. They aren't just competing anymore, they are absorbing the industry itself. But the theaters are fighting back. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 just shattered records, proving the box office is alive and well, if you have the right franchise. And on the awards front, Ryan Coogler's Sinners is dominating the Critics' Choice nominations. It's been a historic week. Let's get into it.
Netflix is announcing a definitive agreement to buy Warner Bros. In a multi-billion-dollar deal.
On December 5th, the entire media landscape didn't just shift, it completely cracked wide open. Netflix has officially entered a definitive agreement to acquire the core entertainment assets of Warner Bros. Discovery. We are talking about an absolute mega deal valued at roughly $82.7 billion. To put that in perspective, this is the biggest media shakeup since Disney bought Fox back in 2019. But here is the crazy part. This isn't just a simple buyout. It is actually a massive corporate split that is going to change how we watch everything.
$27.75 a share, it says cash and stock for
$27.75. And
so let's look at the mechanics of this. Netflix isn't swallowing the whole company. Instead, they are doing a fission deal. They are paying a premium, $27.75 a share, to grab the crown jewels. That means Netflix is taking the legendary Warner Bros. Film and TV studios, the entire DC universe, the Harry Potter wizarding world, and arguably the biggest prize of all, HBO and HBO Max. Meanwhile, all the linear TV stuff, CNN, HGTV, the Food Network, TNT Sports, is being spun off into a new, separate company tentatively called Discovery Global.
This was an incredibly heated bidding war because of just how valuable a lot of those Warner Brothers assets.
But don't think this was an easy win. Warner Brothers was effectively in play for months, and it was a total Shark Tank. Comcast was in the mix, trying to merge NBC Universal with Warner, but the regulatory heat on that was just too high. Then you had the Skydance consortium backed by the Ellison family, who even offered a huge breakup fee to show they were serious. They are actually accusing Warner Brothers of running a biased auction, so don't be surprised if we see some lawsuits flying around in the next few months. Netflix eventually won because they have the stronger stock currency, and they were willing to eat the regulatory risk.
the biggest secret in the world that Netflix
is the winner.
Is the winner, and the deal's done apparently at this point.
And speaking of risk, that is where this story gets messy. The business logic is sound, but the political reaction has been a firestorm. We are seeing rare bipartisan anger here. You've got Senator Elizabeth Warren calling this an anti-monopoly nightmare that's going to jack up prices for consumers, and on the right, you have Senator Roger Marshall saying no single company should have this much vertical control over culture. It's going to be a brutal 12 to 18-month review process in Washington.
For Hollywood, combining two of the biggest streaming companies with one of the largest traditional movie studios.
But the people who are really panicked? The creators. The Writers Guild, the Directors Guild, and the Producers Guild are all sounding the alarm. They aren't just worried about a monopoly, they're worried about a monopsony. Basically, if Netflix swallows its biggest competitor, there are fewer buyers for scripts, which means they can dictate lower pay and worse terms for writers and actors. The WGA has already said this is exactly what antitrust laws were designed to prevent.
And total enterprise value, $82.7 billion at this point.
We might be looking at the beginning of a true oligopoly, where everything we watch is filtered through one giant algorithm. But I want to know what you guys think. Is this the golden age of content, or is this bad news for movies? Let me know down in the comments. Alright, let's switch gears and talk numbers, because the box office this weekend was absolutely wild. If you thought the holiday movie season was just going to be about singing witches and talking animals, you were wrong. The results for the weekend of December 5th to 7th are in, and we have a new king of the hill that just scared the competition away. Coming in at number 1, we have the debut of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. This thing didn't just open, it exploded. We are looking at a massive $63 million domestic opening. That is huge for a horror movie in December. In fact, it's a record breaker. It officially beat out Scream 2 for the biggest horror opening the month has ever seen. Globally, it's already sitting at $109 million, which is wild considering the budget was only around $36 million. The critics might be mixed, but the fan base clearly showed up in force, proving that the animatronic hype train is nowhere near slowing down.
Flash, 100-yard dash. We need to get across town.
No problem.
Sliding down to number 2, we have Disney's juggernaut Zootopia 2. Even in its second weekend, it is pulling serious weight, bringing in another $43 million. That is a drop of about 57%, which is pretty standard for a blockbuster of this size coming off a massive Thanksgiving debut. But the real story here is the global picture. The sequel has already crossed $200 million domestically and is smashing it overseas with over $900 million worldwide. We are literally days away from watching this cross the billion-dollar mark, cementing Disney's absolute dominance in animation this year. And finally, rounding out the top 3 at number 3 is Wicked for Good. The second part of the saga is holding steady with $16.8 million in its third weekend. It's obviously cooling down a bit compared to the massive start, but it's still drawing in the theater kid crowd and families who aren't quite ready for the horror vibes of Freddy's. It's a solid hold that proves musicals still have some serious legs during the holiday corridor. So, we've got killer robots, billionaire bunnies, and defying gravity all in the top 3. It is a weird mix, but it's clearly working for theaters. I want to know though, did you contribute to that $63 million for Freddy's this weekend? Or are you waiting for Avatar 3 to drop? Let me know in the comments below. We have to talk about award season, because the floodgates just opened. The Critics' Choice Association just dropped their nominations for the 31st Annual Awards, and if you were looking for a clear frontrunner for the Oscars, I think we just found it.
Right up top, Michael. Straight ahead. Now I got both of y'all. Hey, Michael, right.
The absolute headline here is Ryan Coogler's Sinners. This movie didn't just get nominated, it basically swept the entire board. We are talking about 17 nominations. That is nearly a record-breaking number, just one shy of Barbie's record a couple of years ago. It picked up nods for Best Picture, Best Director for Coogler, and Best Actor for Michael B. Jordan. This is huge because the Critics' Choice is usually the most accurate predictor of who actually wins the Oscar.
It's great to be in London. Very exciting.
Oh, it's incredible, especially with this movie.
But it's not running unopposed. Right on its heels is Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, which snagged 14 nominations, including a showing for the cast, with Leonardo DiCaprio getting a Best Actor nod. So, we are setting up for a real heavyweight fight between Coogler's horror thriller vibe and PTA's drama. And don't sleep on Wicked for Good either. The musical is still holding its own in the technical categories, proving it's not just a box office hit.
What are you looking for?
Over on the TV side, things are a little more spread out, but Netflix is having a very good morning. Their limited series Adolescence is leading the pack with 6 nominations, but the drama categories are a bloodbath. You've got Severance finally back in the mix, going head-to-head with The Diplomat and the new medical drama The Pit, which surprised everyone by grabbing 4 spots. It's going to be a tough year to pick a winner there. The ceremony itself is going down on January 4th, 2026. It's a lot to process. The industry is getting smaller and scarier, but as long as we still get gems like Severance and Adolescence amidst the chaos, maybe we'll be all right. We are heading into 2026 with a completely different map than we had a week ago. The only question is, are we going to like what they serve us next? I'm going to be tracking every move of this Netflix deal and the AI fallout so you don't have to. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you do not want to miss what happens next. Thanks for watching. It was Industry Weekly. See you next week.